Hello, and thanks for tuning into the show that goes around the continent to bring you stories near and far. I'm Joke Rogers at Channels Television here in Lagos, and I'm joined by Vincent McCory from the Voice of America in Washington, D.C.
Well, thanks, I'm Vincent McCory at the Voice of America. Happy to be with you again for another edition of Africa 54. Let's start off with the latest from Nigeria. Joke Rogers in Lagos brings you that story.
The Yobe State Governor, Mai Mala Buni, has approved a 25-year Damaturu master plan, which is to be replicated in the 5 major cities of Potiskum, Gashua, Nguru, Gaidam, and Buniyadi. The governor disclosed this while inspecting digital equipment and commissioning of new Yobe State Geographic Information Services complex. He also directed all land vendors in the state to register before being allowed to operate.
In 2020, 1 year after Governor Mai Mala Buni came on board, a bill was passed into law to establish the State Geographic Information Services with the aim of processing all land documents in the state. A total of 179 million naira was recorded in processing land documents in the last 3 years, hence increasing the internally generated revenue of the state.
The revenue we have generated so far from processing only from April 2021 to date is amounting to 179 million naira. We would like to mention that this effort we have made so far in transforming land administration will go a long way, and I will tell you that in decades to come, people will always remember that we are the pace setter for this new digital process.
Governor Mai Mala Buni, while inspecting digital equipment procured by the agency, announced a 25-year Damaturu master plan, in addition to a mandatory registration for all land vendors in the state to enable them operate.
I have approved the contract for the production of 25-year Damaturu master plan, and I am pleased to inform you that the team of experts engaged by the state government are ready to commence work. To reduce the menace of land grabbing, racketeering and scam, I hereby direct that all land vendors must be registered for proper records and security before they are allowed to operate. Similarly, all filling stations, hotels, bakeries and water factories, private school, corner shops and other commercial businesses in the state must settle their dues.
With the recent increase in population resulting from the relative peace being recorded in the state, approving the Damaturu Master Plan will increase its revenue generation as well as discourage construction of unapproved structures in the state.
Joining us to discuss the 25-year Damaturu Master Plan is the Director General of the Yobe State Geographic Information Service, Dr. Abdullahi Hassan. Pleasure having you today on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Right, so the Yobe State Ministry of Land and Survey was abolished to create the Yobe State Geographic Information Service. What difference will this make to what the state government is trying to do?
Thank you very much for this question to make this clarification actually. In 2020, as earlier known, His Excellency Mai Mala Buni decided to abolish the former Ministry of Land to create the Yobe State Geographic Information Service. This is to improve the services provided in terms of land administration, ensure that all records are straight and improve efficiency of titling. Initially, the ministry is not recording some good numbers in terms of remittance and revenues, but however, after the emergence of wages, the processing fees which is being paid by our people who pay for the services that we provide has amounted to over 179 million over the last 3 years. And all these funds are remitted into the state government coffers. This is something that is known to everybody and it's very clear. I think this is something that is remarkable. And people, I believe, have seen the difference from what it was before and what it is today. Thank you.
So does your agency have enough funds for compensation?
The government is having a lot of problem in terms of planning, in terms of identifying the suitable sites. So this production of the new 25 years master plan will make that very easy. At the same time, even at the moment, if the government is not going to utilize the place, but the owners will be in the know that certain areas and certain places are earmarked for certain purposes in the future. And if the government will embark on the project at that time, they will ensure that the due compensation has been paid to the owners. I think this wouldn't be a problem. This is part of the plan that we are trying to work on.
Right, and so, in its latest prediction, NIMET has, listed a lot of states to be affected by flooding this year. I know that many states in the north are also part of this list. How is your agency, how will it, what role is it going to play in ensuring that flood disasters are mitigated in Yobe State?
Thank you very much. This is a very interesting question. Firstly, we have the State Emergency Management Agency, which also does its own assessment, which they ensure that they have proactive measures before this kind of disaster struck. And at the same time, in our own agency, what His Excellency Honorable did last 2 years was to constitute a sideboard committee, which is headed by the Director General of Yobe Geographic Information Service. So this committee comprises of different directors from different ministries and agencies that deal with projects. From the Ministry of Works, we have the Director Civil. From the Ministry of Water Resources, we have the Director Planning. From the Ministry of Housing, we have the Director Development Control. From Ministry, from Rural Electrification Agency, we have the Director Electrification, Rural Electrification. From Housing Corporation, we have Director Operations. So all of these members are always seeking to see how government structures and government infrastructure will be sited in suitable place. And one of the mandates of the committee is to advise the government on possible ways of mitigating hazards and disasters. In the last 4 months, we have submitted our first report to His Excellency. What he did was he directed the Secretary to the State Government to ensure that this report has been implemented. And I think part of the implementation is that some road constructions and drainages are now being executed in Damatru, which is about 70 to 60% of the committee's recommendation. I think over the past few years, he has had that vision to ensure that such things are mitigated by government heads on.
Right, and all land vendors have been asked to register before being allowed to operate. How do you intend to monitor compliance?
Yes, I think part of the law that established the agency has it that all land vendors must be registered and are regulated by the agency. And then you cannot pinpoint who actually leases out that particular property to these people. So this is one of the reasons to ensure that there is security and to reduce land scam. So His Excellency directed that we should have a portal whereby each and every land vendor would register. And what the portal does is whenever you register, pay your annual due, it will give you a license automatically. The license will be sent to your email, which has a barcode of all your information. And then whichever activity as a vendor that you carry out any transaction, you have to attach the copy of your license. So whenever we've got reports of any scam or any unwanted activity by that particular vendor, the agency has the right and the power to call in that vendor, either to warn them or either to seize their license. That is dependent on the degree and the severity of the offense they've committed. So that is how we intend to check all these things.
Right, Director General Yobe State Geographic Information Service, Dr. Abdullahi Hassan, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
We want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we cover. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa54 and check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. After the break, a conservation farm in Burkina Faso near the capital Ouagadougou, tourists can see endangered animals up close, but fighting and unrest has put the farm at risk. Welcome back to Africa 54. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. On his farm near Burkina Faso's capital, Ouagadougou, Clark Longren studies and breeds wild animals, some of them endangered species. The Canadian, who has been living in the country for several decades, is also giving tourists an opportunity to see his animals up close. But fighting and unrest in the country has put the farm at risk. VOA's Gilda Da has more in this report narrated by Jackson Vunganyi.
It's feeding time for Clark Longren's warthogs. This is just one of the species the Canadian-born wild animal breeder is raising on his 70 hectares in Wedbila, a village near Burkina Faso's capital, Ouagadougou. Another is the potter pig, a cross between a Red River hog and a pig.
A male from this species mated with a domestic pig. She gave birth to mixed offspring, and someone from Calavi University discovered and preserved them.
Métissé. Et quelqu'un de l'université de Cavalier a trouvé ça.
But not all animals can breed. This female hyena is waiting for a mate, something Longren hopes to provide soon. The Wedbila demonstration farm was established in 1998 with the goal of providing breeding animals for farms and contributing to environmental education. Longren also hopes to reintroduce species that have disappeared from Burkina Faso, like the critically endangered red-necked ostrich, also called the North African ostrich.
Les autruches, qui est la souche sauvage.
Red-necked ostriches are the strain of wild ostriches of Burkina Faso. They disappeared about 50 years ago. We want to breed them, collaborating with others in Benin, Niger, and more.
On collabore avec d'autres personnes au Burkina aussi qui font ça.
It takes about 45 minutes to complete a tour of the farm. Visitors can admire pythons, jackals, a martial eagle, and a waterbuck standing over 1.75 meters tall. They may catch a glimpse of the horse-like hartebeest. Amidou Nana is one of the farm's caretakers.
I feed them, and if they are unwell, I take care of them too. I came to work, but when I saw what was being done, I liked it a lot. And later, the boss trained me.
The fighting between armed Islamist groups and the government has made it difficult for the farm. Food costs more, and fewer tourists are visiting. It has also affected the animals.
The problem is that we had to reduce the quality and quantity of their diet. But for some species, it didn't go well. I didn't have enough money.
For Longren, relying on tourist traffic and selling his less endangered stock have not been enough to sustain the Wedbila farm. To cover expenses, he has established the organization, the Center for the Development of Wildlife Production, to help raise funds to keep his farm going and return some of these animals back to the wild. For Gildas Da in Wedbila, Burkina Faso, this is Jackson Vunganyi, VOA News.
In a bid to create a better life and community where things run smoothly, the Nigerian tech startup Eden Life is driving innovation by digitizing home services through its mobile app. The startup connects users with professional home managers called gardeners, helping them outsource and automate their home chores.
Meet the team at Eden Life, a tech-enabled startup navigating challenges and shaping the future of home care. Founded in 2019, the innovative home services platform has taken strides to automate household chores for busy individuals, particularly targeting millennials and Gen Z professionals.
We're trying to help people live better and help people put their chores, their home chores, on autopilot. So your feeding, your laundry, your cleaning will help you take care of all of that. So you don't have to worry and you can use that time for something else.
I like to think of it as an Alexa that can physically do stuff, right? So Eden Life automates everything about home chores.
The platform, developed by 3X and Delans, provides a unique solution to challenges of modern living based on their personal experiences of struggling to manage domestic tasks while juggling their careers.
It was a big problem trying to get food, do my laundry, cleaning. So we just came together and say, what if we had a service that could automate that could do all of that for us, and we just pay a certain amount of money every month. And that's how Eden was born.
Through its mobile application, Eden simplifies life by automating essential chores such as food delivery, laundry, and cleaning, leveraging a network of well-vetted professionals known as gardeners. On the app, users can schedule services with ease, freeing up valuable time and energy.
Operations can be really intensive at Eden. So you need people that are ready to walk the walk, and talk the talk.
Embodying a vision of a simplified and efficient lifestyle, the tech startup continues to redefine home care services, providing a glimpse into the future of automated living.
Zimbabwe is attempting to turn its biggest trash dump into a source of biogas, a renewable energy source that can be used to produce electricity. Locals like the idea project that creates jobs and eases problems of chronic power shortages. But as Columbus Mavunga reports from Harare, some residents say the project is draining the city's scarce resources.
A few months back, this dump site was an eyesore and a foul odor hung heavy in the air, but not anymore. A local company, Geopomona Waste Management, is trying to turn the site into a source of biogas and electricity. 30-year-old Tinashe Chisanu from a nearby township is one of the workers constructing the project.
This project is really helping me as a Zimbabwean. It has offered me a job, and now I am able to look after my family. I am really grateful to the project, and I'm sure my workmates are being helped by this project.
Digesters take in organic waste and convert it to biogas, which can be used to produce electricity. Victor Tarirai is Chief Operating Officer at the biogas company Land Force Energy in Harare.
Biogas is that it's a renewable energy source. Also, you can do many things like cooking, brooder heating, as well as harvesting an organic fertilizer, which then replaces the use of chemical fertilizers. The disadvantages, the initial investment costs, and also the need for continuous monitoring and maintenance of the digesters.
Simarasha Mchena is a waste energy engineer at Geopomona Waste Management. He says the project will end the problem of Harare's gigantic trash dumps which spread disease.
After that, we'll drill biogas wells, which will extract biogas from the waste, organic waste, which was underneath, which degrades and produces biogas. Then after that, we'll generate, with the new waste, we'll generate 16 to 22 megawatts of electricity through the incineration process, whereby we have to burn the waste in a combustion chamber.
But Precious Shumba, director of Harare Residents Trust, says the government-backed project is an unsustainable exploitation of ratepayers of Harare. He says the company is charging $40 a ton for garbage delivered to the dump.
We have added an addendum that is requesting the city of Harare to pay an additional $124 per ton of garbage collected. So this will be exploitative to the city of Harare, as it amounts to around $3 million per month, and the ratepayers cannot afford that.
But as things stand, Zimbabwe's capital will have a biogas plant sometime in coming months. Residents hope the pros will outweigh the cons. Columbus Mavunga, VOA News, Harare, Zimbabwe.
The UN Refugee Agency has been trying to help those affected by the intense weather in Burundi, Tanzania, and Kenya. Heavy rains and flash flooding continue to hit parts of East Africa, impacting thousands of people, including refugees in the region. Our next report highlights the challenges many of the victims face.
In Burundi, around 32,000 refugees are living in areas hit by floods. 500 of them require urgent assistance. The UN Refugee Agency, UNHCR, met with some of the refugees in the capital, Bujumbura, to assess the situation. Some families, including elderly, have had to relocate multiple times. Njembo is a Congolese refugee who moved to Burundi in 2020.
When I moved here in 2020, there was no water. Vehicles could drive up to my house. But when the water started rising, it filled the houses. As the years went by, the water levels kept increasing every season.
The UNHCR says it is particularly concerned about people who had already been forced to flee, losing their homes again.
The flooding forced me to move out. The water has been rising here. We're a family of 10, and there are children as well who are in school. I'm also a student. We often get late for class. When we moved here, we never imagined the waters could ever reach this level.
In Kenya, nearly 20,000 people at the Dadaab refugee camps have been displaced. Many of them arrived in recent times after fleeing severe drought in neighboring Somalia. Nearly 2,600 people are sheltering in 7 schools that have been extensively damaged. Several latrines have also collapsed, putting refugees at risk of deadly waterborne diseases. Other countries where displaced people are among the hardest hit include Somalia, with over 46,000 internally displaced people in 5 locations south of the country, forced to relocate due to flash floods. In Tanzania, the Nyarugusu and Duta camps have been impacted. Roads within the 2 camps have been damaged, disrupting assistance and service. The UNHCR says it is working to deliver crucial aid and protection services to the affected people in Kenya and Burundi. The agency is working with local partners to rehabilitate refugee shelters.
Being the preferred choice of footwear for many, flip-flops, typically made of plastic or rubber, break easily and don't get disposed of properly. Therefore, millions of them end up in oceans, waterways, dump sites, and landfills all over the world. A Kenyan-based company has found creative and functional ways to reuse them. VOA's Nairobi Bureau Chief Mariama Diallo visited their warehouse located in Karen, about 45 kilometers from the city center, and has this report.
Hundreds of thousands of discarded flip-flops arrive regularly at Ocean Soul, a Kenyan-based company. Joe Mwakiremba has been working for the company for about 10 years.
Ocean Soul was founded on the premise of cleaning our oceans and waterways, at the same time employing lots of artists from high-impact communities here in Kenya.
He says flip-flops are collected from weekly beach cleanups, waterways and dump sites and brought into their warehouse. They weigh the material and pay collectors about 18 cents per kilogram. Then, to prepare them for carving, they are first hand-washed, 1 flip-flop at a time.
The next stage for our smaller and medium sculptures, we have a die-cut machine that will punch out a template of a giraffe or a lion or a rhino. Those templates are joined together with glue, then carved out into that respective animal.
For life-size pieces, the company reuses an additional material.
Our bigger sculptures on the inside, they use the polystyrene material. This comes from shipping companies. They use them as insulation. When they get worn out, they throw them away. So the inside of the bigger pieces is this material carved out into the shape of the giraffe or elephant, then padded with the flip-flops.
Using a machine, the pieces are then sanded before being cleaned again and readied for shipment. Florence Auma is an artist who's been working for the company for 14 years. She had to learn the art of carving from scratch.
Started with washing, and then I started with blocking, and then I am the first female carver in this company. So I was carving. Now I am happy because I have so many things. I have many skills in this company.
Skills that have allowed her to be able to carve just about anything like these coasters and to travel the world to showcase her talent. Mwakiremba told us one of the largest pieces they made was a life-size car for a Honda dealership in Huntsville, Alabama. That took 2,500 flip-flops and 3 months to make. Ocean Soul is now collaborating with a design artist from Uganda who lives in Finland and owns a gallery there, in one of their biggest projects to date. Lincoln Kaiwa, who's used materials such as ceramic, granite, wood, and glass, has decided to try something new with flip-flops. He recently traveled to Kenya to finalize a furniture project to be launched in April during Milan Design Week in Italy.
The project, it has 14 different pieces, so you're just seeing just 3 of them. Of course, it's a win-win situation. The more flip-flops are used, it means that the more flip-flops that have been taken out of the environment. For me, that's the meaning of sustainability.
In 2023, the company recycled about 750,000 flip-flops. This year, it aims to recycle about 1 million. Mariama Diallo, VOA News, Nairobi.
Well, and that's our show for today. You can find all the continent's top news and world news online at voaafrica.com. Check it out. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. Channels Television has our last word.
We look forward to bringing you another show next week. To remember that channelstv.com is your source for news and other programming. I'm Joke Rogers. Thanks for watching and goodbye.